folks, welcome to another showcase of an impressive army, one of the grossest, most amazingly converted army I have yet to see on this channel. Welcome to another army showcase. Hey folks, Nick here. I've also got William here with me in the studio today, and he's brought his, quite frankly, disgusting but beautiful conversions to the channel here. We've encountered William many times at local tournaments, lots of local charity tournaments and stuff like that, where he often brings these beautifully painted, wonderfully converted miniatures, and we've been wanting to showcase his stuff for a while. We finally got the opportunity. Thanks so much for coming down.
Oh, it's an honor, man. It's friggin' great.
I gotta say, I'm recoiling in fear a little bit.
If you don't quite want to touch it, that means I did it right.
So we obviously have two varying armies here. We've got, these are like demon-y, nurgly stuff from 40K.
As gross as I could make them.
Yep. And then we have a Space Marine, much cleaner, much nicer, much friendlier maybe.
Friendlier and nicer by contrast is the whole zen of the whole thing.
Now, these are two armies from 40K, but you have lovingly converted all of them. Even the Space Marines have tons of cool paint jobs and conversions within them. Like, I see a monocycle dreadnought.
Yeah, so when I bought that dreadnought, I didn't like the legs, and it looked like Gizmo Duck from DuckTales. And so I thought, can I get this crazy siege dreadnought onto one wheel? And you can.
That's fantastic. So would you say this is your passion, converting miniatures? Like, is this one of your passions in life?
Well, there's no question about it. But it's the contrast I set up here, it's driven from kind of, do you mind if I just go off a little bit?
Not at all.
A long, long time ago, I was injured really quite badly. Broken back, broken everything, broken fibia, tibia, ribia, the whole deal. And the good doctors and all the king's horses and all the king's men glued me back together again for the most part. But there's bits that are just damaged beyond repair that's still stuck on there. And infection found its way into that tissue and into the bones. So in Warhammer terms, it's the mark of Nurgle. Like, really found me. So there was this 3 or 4 year period where I had a limb that was rotting off as I was using it.
Yeah.
And halfway through that, I started, without correlating what I was doing, I had this desire to build the most horrible Nurgle, cartoony roar robots covered in as much blood and horrible as I could. And eventually, the infection got bad enough and the Inquisition caught up with me, and the whole foot and leg had to be just removed. And then promptly, I kind of faded away from wanting to do this. And I asked my wife, I said, Jennifer, why don't I do these things anymore? And she said to me in that cool, knowing wife way, she just said, well, William, these are your demons. And I went, oh, you're really right about that.
Oh, fascinating. So like, it's cathartic in a way.
Yeah, and like, I came to think about it. What I was doing was I was building a trauma.
Huh.
I was like,
wow.
That's why I use spray foam and as many bugs and as much. I don't even try to do edge highlighting all that much because it's not what I was doing. I was taking a horrible experience I had and externalizing it.
I mean, that is like the definition of art.
That's exactly what I wanted to say here today, was encourage people to do, was have the courage to put yourself into what you're doing.
Oh, wow.
And don't talk down your miniature hobby, because it is art.
100%.
You can express yourself through this medium, and the more you do that, the more people will respond to it, and it'll open up channels you didn't expect.
Wow.
And to not think of it as my silly hobby, but my expression, and having the courage to take what's in you and just frickin' build it. It ended up being psychologically like an important part of how I got over said trauma. Was I can just pick it up and go, well, that's not a part of me anymore. I can play a game with it. And so I thought why I brought two armies and the other one is cleaner and nicer, because I thought to myself, if I can take past trauma and build it, can I reverse the Jeffries tubes and take positive intention for the future and build that too.
Wow.
And what I wanted to say to people is you absolutely can do that. You just have to invest yourself in your art. And please do so, because what can come of it will surprise you.
Dude, I've seen your stuff at so many tournaments, but it has all taken on such a whole new meaning.
Yeah, and that's the emphasis. I put as much of me and what I want in the world and what I've seen and done into it as I can. So if you want to know what it feels like to have a limb rot off, just by approximation.
So it's therapy in a way.
That's exactly what it is.
It's probably not cheaper than therapy, but...
Well, here the thing about Warhammer is it's very cyclical. Sometimes the rules for a model are bad and people are looking to sell them. So they'll sell you a defiler for $5.
There you go.
Because the rules are terrible.
And if you're just going to convert it anyways,
who knows what it's going to turn into?
You probably don't care as much about what the previous paint job has been and stuff like that.
No, when you're when times hit it with a hammer at certain points to like.
Okay, so you've literally hit these with hammers.
Most of it.
Okay.
Like this one alone was a Helldrake, 2 Skaven Doom wheels, a Defiler, an Imperial Valkyrie, pieces out of my washing machine my wife wasn't happy with. And you just kind of put it all in front of yourself and use a word you guys use a lot is play.
Yeah.
And
it's literally in our name, play on tabletop.
Yeah, exactly. But in order to invest yourself in a thing, that's an inherently playful activity.
Yeah.
You have to be in an open, go for it mode. So get the bits in front of you, whatever you've got, and just run with an idea.
Huh.
If someone says they want to see dreadnoughts on springs, try it.
I guess I've never really thought about my army that way, but if I look back, maybe not in the paint style, but definitely in like how I build the army and how I construct the army and what models I want to buy and use in my army are very much reflective of who I want my character to be and who I'm expressing at the time.
Yes.
Like people make fun of me for saying the Tower are the good guys. And I really truly believe they are the good guys. But I have real trouble playing the bad guys because I don't want to be the bad guys.
Right.
I want to be the good guys.
Well, that's lovely of you. It's just some of us have got some bad stuff in our.
Well, the army is disgustingly resilient and awesome. You know what it does do though?
What's that?
Not make me hungry.
I disagree.
But it's a very awkward segment to our ad spot. This video is sponsored by Magic Spoon Treats. We've had them as a sponsor before, and as we have a few people on our team with dietary concerns, it's always been a nice surprise when a box of Magic Spoon shows up on our doorstep. And if you're someone like me, who is often forgetting to bring food, it's been a great treat to have something giving me a boost of protein for our shoots. Do you want to try chocolatey peanut butter or marshmallow?
Marshmallow!
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah, marshmallow, that's a...
Oh man.
That's not bad.
Oh, really nice.
You can click the link below to try Magic Spoon's new treats today, and be sure to check out both delicious protein-packed flavors, marshmallow and chocolatey peanut butter. Whether you like sticking to the classics or trying something new, there's a flavor you'll love. And, just like with their cereal, Magic Spoon is so confident in their product that they are backing it up with a 100% happiness guarantee. So, if you don't like it for any reason, they're gonna refund your money, no questions asked. I can actually pronounce most of these ingredients. Natural flavor, salt, cream, stevia leaf extract, monk fruit. You ever had a monk fruit?
I'm looking it up.
So you can click on the link below or scan the QR code right on the screen and use the code PLAYMAGIC for $5 off, or go to magicspoon.com/playmagic to save $5 off your order today. And don't forget to add marshmallow and chocolatey peanut butter treats to your order. Also, note for Canadian and British viewers, Magic Spoon also ships to Canada and the UK. I have to ask.
Sure.
Are those real worms?
Freeze-dried mealworms.
Like actual freeze-dried mealworms?
Yeah, you buy them at a bird food store, and then you stick them on and lacquer them.
None of them are alive, right?
Not that I know of.
It's literally freaking me out a little bit.
But if one of them hatched right now, you gotta admit it'd be kind of cool.
When he brought this army into the studio here, he's literally holding the bits, like each guy like this, bringing them into the studio one at a time. And I'm noticing a few like things just falling off, and I follow him up the stairs. And I'm like, there's just like worms on the stairs.
The objective should be maximum gross.
I think you've achieved it. Well done. Well done.
If you're playing against the Chaos Army as an excuse to turn an army into the heavy metal album cover.
Fair enough.
And if you should make it as awful as you can, and that's actually being canon.
Dude, you brought an amazing army here. So tell us a bit about some of these conversions. Maybe pick like 2 or 3 here and tell us how you went about converting it. So you talked about this guy here. What is this?
My friend had a Land Raider that was broken. It was literally in his trash can. And I said, how much for the Land Raider? $6 or something like that. And then, so that's where the whole create crazy Nurgle monsters started.
Yeah.
I was, well, how awful
Can I pick it up? I mean, I'm hesitant to, but can I?
Be careful. It's my little baby.
I'm creeped out by this. I think I gotta get back.
All right.
It's completely creepy. There's like egg sacs on there, a bursting skeleton coming out, some tentacles all over the place.
Big mushrooms, piles of brown material.
Yep.
Sure.
What did you do to get it to where it does? Did you hit that one with a hammer?
This was hammer job 1. It's kind of why I said the hammer deal.
So you took the model.
There was like missing bits on the top.
Yeah.
I said, well, I'm going to have to fill that with something.
Yeah.
So I needed to be a bigger void.
Okay.
It's just a 16-ounce framing hammer.
So just on your table and just like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Did anyone come walk in and like wonder what you're doing?
My she's pretty good about leaving the garage when I get in the mood. She's just like, he'll be all right.
Is this all like green stuff, or like what is all the stuff made out of?
Yeah, so that you pick up when you go to events. There's lots of raffles.
Yeah.
Or you pick up like this one big tentacle limb.
Yeah.
Was from a Dungeons and Dragons model.
Okay.
I bought just for that tentacle thing.
So this is mostly other models?
It's about 70% Land Raider.
Okay.
And then the rest are these are from Tyranids. This is from some resin cast for mushroom things. There's a Tzeentch demon. The skeleton is from some other miniature company. There is quite a bit of putty work to fill in the gaps.
So that's just basically a whole bunch of stuff stuck together.
Yeah, I mean, like playfully.
Playfully.
You just have your components and see an experiment and see what wants to go where.
How far into the process, like percentage-wise, do you get before you're like, oh, I can see where the ending is?
Half of them you end up throwing away.
Really?
Your ideas just don't work.
So you have like twice as much stuff of this that you've just thrown away.
Yeah, these are like the keepers. When you experiment openly, sometimes it just doesn't work, and you just have to abandon it and hit into the hammer and use the bits on something else. Or you can't do that with Tau, really. But Chaos is pretty forgiving.
Oh boy, okay. What is this right here?
So this is the
defiler?
One of 3 70% defiler bits.
Okay.
And again, I got them cheap because their rules were bad at the time.
They're not bad now.
Awesome. And so, like, I shortened the chassis so it was 4 legs instead of 6. And then,
oh, right, you did.
And then used the chassis on the front to add a bit of height to each one of them.
Yeah.
And then I went, the 2 claws are just straight defiler parts.
Yeah.
But then I just added whatever I had to have lying around. And this one, there's a picture of Queen Elizabeth I on it.
Where?
This one.
Where?
Yeah, it's the Queen.
Oh, right there. Now, I noticed you've brought a couple places in this army references to this army. For instance, this guy's got a shield or something like that. Looks like it's referencing this army.
Yes, and that's deliberate because as I go back to where this was me manifesting bad, this was me meant to be manifesting good.
I love that, by the way.
And I came to the red and blue color scheme because my son painted a shield a lot like this one, but like a full-size one that he made with my sister. And my family, we painted I only have a right foot, but we put white paint on our feet and like decorated the shield.
That's why the foot.
Yeah.
That's why the foot. Okay, I was wondering why you have a foot emblem.
I have a full-size riding shield on my wall that essentially laid out this color scheme for me. But then in a weird art imitates life, this color scheme exists in the canon.
Yeah.
They're an Iron Hands successor chapter called the Brazen Claws.
Okay.
But what I read later after the army's done, because when a Space Marine initiate becomes an Iron Hands guy, they have to become an amputee in something called the Harrowing. And
do they get to choose?
Well, in the canon, it's an arm because Dorn lost a hand, so they give up a hand.
That makes sense. Okay.
But in mine, you have to give up a leg because it feels familiar.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
So I wanted to include parts in each other, and I'm glad you noticed because there's not that many, but I wanted to tie them in visually where I could.
So the armies are connected.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do these guys fall to Chaos, you think?
So, canonically, again, all just prior to picking the color scheme, these guys had their home planet destroyed by demons.
Okay.
And they all went on a crusade flew off into the warp for revenge. And then right around the fall of Cadia, half of them broke out and popped back into real space.
Just showed up and started
And
fighting.
the other half stayed. So some of them are a little bit maybe been in the warp too long.
Is that what happened to this guy right here?
Yeah, that's included that because there's Eisenhorn
Oh,
novels.
I see Eisenhorn, and that's his captive demon.
Cherubael.
Yes, right. That was a great book. You've played with these armies. Now,
Yeah.
this one, not so much. It's very much, what you see is pretty much what you get. There's a few conversions in here.
This is meant to be a little more straightforward.
But this army here, I imagine there might be difficulties in playing with it.
It doesn't see a lot of play anymore.
Okay.
I can play with like my son.
Yeah.
But I used to make up cards.
To hand to your opponent?
It was like, this is what this is.
I mean, that makes sense.
Most of the parts are defiler parts.
I mean, if you're very familiar with demons, you can kind of get a sense of what they are.
Yeah.
But it definitely could, yeah. So what you're saying is this is more of a display army.
Like I said, I don't feel the need
to play with it
anymore. Like what it represents to me is like a cathartic process that I'm kind of done with.
So you're done with this army?
I don't have the artistic drive
awesome.
to make more.
I mean, that sounds healthy.
Put yourself in your armies. Like,
that sounds healthy.
It was unintentionally a great psychological device.
I love hearing this. This is so cool. See, I didn't actually know this about you. I was fascinated to get to talk with you because we've met many times at tournaments. We've wanted to get you on before because your stuff is beautiful. But to be honest, we don't know each other all that well.
No.
So this is fantastic to get to know you.
Well, that's why I was so excited you invited me on. I was like, oh, I can go tell the story with the play on story guys, and like, maybe I can encourage people to invest in their art.
100%. You heard it.
Not their miniature hobby, their art.
Yeah.
And put yourself into it.
You don't have to be the best painter in the world to do that either.
Obviously not.
Dude, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. Now, I noticed you did go with a quartered here. Was quartered difficult? Because I gotta say, I'm looking at quartered and I'm like, I don't want to try it.
So the trick to that is blue pigment is way stronger than red pigment.
Start with the red, go
Start
with
with
blue.
red, and then the only really precise lines you need to do are where the blue meets the red. And
That's
then
fair.
for the rest, you're just building up with glazes and highlights.
Fair enough.
That's just the strength of blue pigment. I initially was drawn to quartered. There's the Howling Griffins.
Yep.
But they have yellow.
Yeah.
And yellow is not going to
so
cooperate.
Yellow is so tough.
So I just put blue in
Yeah.
instead because yellow wasn't going to work as hard.
Is this a female Marine?
Yeah, so there's me being peevish again.
Yeah.
I love it when people tell me that's not canon. And it's a little switch goes in my brain. It's like, it will be soon.
It's canon now. Yeah, I noticed several female Marines
Which
here.
had the neat effect of like my daughter asked to be one of them.
Oh, cool.
And she
Which
said,
one's your daughter?
I want claws and covered in blood. You get that Terminator
Okay.
sergeant in the front.
This one here? Here,
That
this one.
Yeah.
So this is your daughter?
So isn't like her name is right on
Gwen?
the front of it.
Aw.
And I said,
Gwen, if you're watching, you look lovely.
She is lovely. But she wanted to have claws and be covered in blood and screaming. So I put her in the army.
Covered in blood. I love it. That's so good. Is your wife in here too?
That one ends up looking a lot like my wife.
Ends up subconsciously or on purpose?
It's not on purpose, but like by the time I'm done and I hold it up and I go like, oh, geez, I built Jennifer.
Nice to meet you, Jennifer.
I put her in there. The one with the big plasma gun looks like my sister.
This one here? This one here.
Yeah. And that's that put yourself into it.
Now, where's
thing that I
yourself?
was- Oh, boy.
Did you make a miniature for yourself? Is that your next project?
Which one am I?
Is that your next
Well,
project?
I'd be over here.
Well, no. You said you're done with this. Maybe a chapter master.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
I can see that going really well.
Game on, Nick.
Okay, I want to
Game
see this. Dude, is there anything else you want to tell us about this gorgeous, gorgeous army?
It is art. It's not your silly hobby you do. It's art.
Yeah.
And put as much of yourself into it as you can, and people will respond to that. They really will.
William, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh,
this has been a real treat. Oh, I'm going to say, until we see you next time, and then we're going to say play on together.
Right there.
Right there. Well, until we see you next time, keep hobbying and
Play on!